So please, my guest is Rachael Taplin, who has worked in media for over 30 years. She's a well-known businesswoman and entrepreneur and has been previously recognised as one of the top 50 UK inspirational women. And she now dedicates her time to the Media Matchmaker, training and helping entrepreneurs and business owners to be inspired to use PR and secure publicity for themselves, while also connecting them directly to the UK media and to journalists. Rachael, thank you so much for joining me. This is a topic, of course, so close to my heart, as you know. That's how we kind of connected. And most people know that I only ended up doing the kind of businessy side of what I do because of the fact that I worked in media for years. But on both sides of the microphone, so the person sort of doing the interviewing and receiving the press releases, but also the person desperately wanting the PR for my own books and work. So I really am your absolute ideal client across all of it. And it is really close to my heart. So tell us just a little bit about your background before we get into Media Matchmaker.
Yeah, well, I've always worked in the media. So started off in radio back in 1995. Gosh, a long time ago. And I've always worked with the small business owners, SMEs, which I've loved. So I understand that every penny counts. So I've worked in radio. I had an ad agency. I then became the editor-in-chief of my own magazine that went up to a print run of 250,000 called Mums in Control. And it was at that point where I wanted to kind of try and understand PR, because that was the side of marketing that I'd never done before in the media. And I'm dyslexic, so this was a big challenge for me, press releases and all those things. But my whole career really has been working with the media, working with the journalists and also business owners.
Yeah, and I know that one thing that inspired you to create this was looking at the cost. Currently, as you say, for small business owners and solopreneurs or whatever, some of the media platforms are just incredibly expensive. If a company hires PR, and we're not tarring all PR with one brush, not by any means. There are some amazing people who work in PR, of course, but by the same token, it can be a really difficult, dodgy industry, because a brand could very easily fly through 30 grand and see not one single piece of coverage or anything, and any return, because we know that in the world of PR, absolutely nothing's guaranteed. So I know that for you, trying to make this more accessible and affordable was a big driving factor.
Massive. And we work with PRs, and I absolutely agree. PRs do a fantastic job, and some of our clients work with PRs as well. It's more about, I did a survey years ago that it's about 80% of the corporates use PR as part of their marketing strategy, yet probably only 20% of the SMEs do. And that's because it's either they feel it's out of their reach, or they don't know how to go about it, or it's going to be too expensive. So what I've always tried to do is kind of make sure that I can bring PR to, like you say, us small business owners. And what I've discovered as well, by interviewing so many journalists over the last 10 years, they want new stories, they want new sources. And especially with how the media has changed. I mean, I've worked, I've gone into editing studios, I've gone to newsrooms, and 10 years ago they probably got half the staff that they used to have then, yet the journalists are now editing, producing, writing. They're online as well, they're doing their social media lives, yet they haven't got any more people for this. So the journalist role has become more time constrained as well. So what I wanted to do is try and create a solution that matched the two. And as you said right at the beginning, yes, there are kind of there's suppliers out there that will provide you with like media requests, and a lot of business owners don't know about these, which journalists PRs use, but they're so expensive and they haven't really adapted in today's technology. They still do the media requests, but they don't allow journalists to search for sources and search for experts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, that's absolutely right. And I think the other thing that's really important to stress is that for as you say, journalists do want stories. This is one of the things that over the years people have said to me, oh well, I'm a health professional, or I'm a therapist, and nobody's interested in writing about. I mean, absolutely untrue. If it's a good angle, if it's a good story, journalists really want to fill their column inches, producers really want to fill their airtime, but they want to fill it with something relevant. And so this is where, individual sort of entrepreneurs and small business owners can play their part too, because whatever PR you hire or whichever journalist you go to, you need to be able to supply the right stuff. And I know that part of what you're doing as well is actually helping entrepreneurs to make sure that they're better equipped so that they play their part and send the right stuff out.
That's exactly that. When we first start off with PR, we know really we're trying to get publicity for our business. And almost a lot of us, and I know I did, as small business owners, tend to write an advert rather than look for the story. So we give them the PR training, we give them all the templates, the tricks, and the tools. And we interview journalists like yourself, as we've interviewed, to share with us what you want from the story and how to make it a story. So how to grab their headlines. So we give them all the training. Again, that helps the journalist, because our organizations and our members are media ready. They kind of know how to answer. They've done their sound bites, they've got their key messages, they've done their intro, their outro, all the things that we recommend them to do. They are ready, and most importantly, then they can give the journalist the story to help them.
Yeah, it makes such a difference, doesn't it? Over the years I've worked with people. I remember, years ago I was working with again, a health professional, I won't name names, who was, had just some great stuff to share, just really important stuff that was a unique story. And I got super excited and managed to secure something in one of the mainstream newspapers. And it all happened really quickly. I had a conversation one day, and the next day spoke to a journalist and got this person a great piece in the mail or somewhere. Rang her up and said, fantastic news, I've got this little bit of this great story for you. Whiz me over a little bit of copy and a headshot, and it's like, okay. And this was in the early days before I knew how to prep people, and she sent me, I swear to God, I mean, it was like an ebook, right? She sent me kind of like 30 pages, and the photo was sort of something of her with her son on the beach in 1928. I mean, it was just completely unworkable, of course. So these are basics, but not everybody knows this yet. Not everybody knows. I mean, we don't know what we haven't been had explained to us, and that's what's lovely, because none of this is rocket science, but it's a great idea to grab a bit of training so that you are, as you say, media ready. You've got your stuff ready to go, and that makes everyone's life so much easier.
It really does. And we have a community as well. So we do like PR Hour Lives, where we give them training and just get them to soundboard their ideas of their stories. And we give them a specific theme. So we've just talked about how to be multimedia ready. So how to take one story and get it multimedia ready. So it's ready. So you can produce a soundbite that you can upload to the Media Matchmaker platform. That means the radio producer at the BBC, maybe in any region, because you can search for experts by region, can then to download a soundbite that's relevant to that story that breaks that day. They can take the same story and turn it into a blog or a press release for print as well. And we talk about how to make sure, if they're going on TV, that they think in terms of pictures. So we make sure they're multimedia ready. And I think that's what I'm really proud of with this platform. I've spent a lot longer than a year, but the last year I've been speaking to journalists before we went live to say, right, what do you want out of it? They want diversity. They want to be able to find people from all walks and backgrounds of life, from all areas, from all social demographics, so we allow them to search by keyword, by location. And what do the business owners want? They want help. They want confidence. They want to know just how to get that publicity, and they just want the connection. And it's just media matchmaking the two.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just talk through how it works then. Let's start off with then, if you are, an entrepreneur or a small business owner, how would you use the platform?
So we've set it up so there's always going to be everyone can register for free and register free profile. So organizations can register their free profile, and then they choose their media pass that's right for them. So there's a starter media pass that will always be free, and that's where you can upload your photo and put your bio details in there. And so let's say you are, I don't know, we had a request come in this morning, a HR expert. That means if a journalist needs a HR expert, they're going to find somebody. I'd much rather the journey is find somebody than nobody. So you can start with a starter media pass, or you can pick a backstage media pass. And I've kept the prices really low at just £29 a month at the moment for our founder members that are joining. And with that, you get all of the training, all of the online interviews that we do with journalists. You get access to all of the templates. And most importantly, you get your profile that will come up higher in the priority results. So if that journalist is looking for a HR expert, you have a backstage media pass, your results will come up higher because you've got a higher priority. You can also, as a business organization, you can upload, as I say, your sound bites, your images, your brochures, everything that you need, and link to YouTube videos as well. And then we have a top media pass, which is called our Access All Areas. And this is just £150 a month. And this is where our organisations can literally get access to up to 80,000 journalists across all media outlets. So if they wanted to speak to all health journalists across national newspapers or even the health magazines, they can find their name, their email address, their contact details. So we've got all different levels for any stage where you're at with your business. So we do that so we can make sure we've got the fastest growing media platform, but it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, fantastic. And then from the other side of the coin, then, if you are a journalist, how would the journalist use the platform?
It's a completely free resource for journalists. So they would create their profile literally within seconds, but putting their name and email address in, they can upload a photo. They put what they're looking for, whether it's radio interviews, whether it's TV, what their media outlet is. They can put if they're looking for expert interviews. So what they can do is they can go in and search. They can search for anybody by keyword, by location, as I say, and by expertise, and then the profile pops up. So this means they've got immediacy. So with a lot of the media platforms, they have to send out media requests and wait for those people to come back to them. With our platform, you can send a direct message or pick up the phone and speak to them. So if you're on a deadline or you've got a radio interview that you need to do straight away, you can get immediacy. You can also send media requests through the platform, and that will then be targeted just to the organisations that match that criteria. So if you're just looking for someone with a manufacturing background or someone in HR or business or property, it will just match those organisations. So we've done a lot of trialing to make sure we get it so there's no spam and no wasted time for anybody. And we've also made it multimedia ready for the journalists, so they can go to a profile of an organisation, see that their audio files are there, download it and use it for that radio interview within minutes. So it's a completely free resource for journalists, and the feedback we're getting is fantastic.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine, because, there's nothing worse than you've got a story, a breaking story, and you want to cover something on a local radio, whatever it is, and finding the right person. And I know this sounds awful, but you may come across someone, or you might be given a name, but you don't actually know whether that person is going to be able to deliver the right story in the right way, or the right angle, the right kind of the right style for your audience. So to be able to find that stuff out quickly is going to make a really massive difference. It's fantastic. I mean, goodness me, I can't imagine how much work you've put into this, because it's behind the scenes. There's a lot going on, isn't there? It's quite complex, these different aspects of it.
It really is. It's simple at the front end, but yes, I have actually been working on this for the last 5 years with different developers, and we've had like prototypes. It hasn't been quite right. In the meantime, I've been building, my relationship with the business owners and with journalists, so that we have the credibility. They know what we're good at. They know that they can trust us. And then we launch, as it's a Media Matchmaker service, on Valentine's Day, sending the love out, and it's just gone crazy since then. And it's what is wonderful is just our last PR Hour Live that we had with our members, probably half of them have already secured PR as a result of the new platform. And so it's so wonderful to hear those stories. And then the journalists are absolutely loving it because it's so different. They haven't got to go to 2 or 3 different platforms to do one thing. They can do it in just literally Media Matchmaker now.
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic. Yeah. And as you say, it's it's quick, it's effective, and also you've got you're at the helm of this, and I think that's really important, because a lot of the other media platforms are massive organizations that I've got absolutely no idea who they are, but you actually do care about this stuff, and I think that really shines through, that this is kind of your passion, because you want to help small businesses and entrepreneurs actually get their message out there. You also want to help the media have the right stories, so I guess you're working on a bit of a win-win.
I have, and I really am, and I absolutely adore what I do, and I love my members, and we've become really close, especially, you know, in the times that we've just been in that we've needed to step up and support them even more. And it's fantastic when, you know, a small business owner can get onto radio, whether it be national or local. It can change their business. One press release can literally change their business, their credibility. But it's great for the journalists as well, because a lot of the media media platforms, sorry, they don't cater for regional searches. They just mostly cater for national news or national searches. So what is wonderful, all the radio producers, especially at the BBC around all the region of the UK, love this service because they can find the sources that they need. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can continue to grow really quickly as we are.
Brilliant. So Rachael, just give us the website then and the instructions if people would like to get involved.
Oh, thank you. It's mediamatchmaker.co.uk. It's free to register a profile. For journalists, you can use the platform all day long for free. And then for business owners, you can pick the Media Pass right for you, starting from free up to £150 a month.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.